Hi everybody, Frankie Lovato here with another video for you on jockey lessons. In this video I want to talk about the hand ride. What is a hand ride? A hand ride is what a jockey does to drive a horse forward to try to encourage them to lengthen their stride and run to the best of their ability. When would a jockey use a hand ride? Well, I'm about to explain. Here's a race. This is a 6 furlong race. It's considered a sprint. I'm on the number 4. In sprint races, you'll see jockeys, when we break out of there, some of us have to ride away from there pretty good. You see the last 2 horses in red and blue, the jockeys are riding pretty aggressively. That's me in black beneath the arrow. Richard Migliore is the jockey in front. He's basically sitting still. He didn't have to ride his horse much away from there. His horse was pretty quick. He's saving something for the end. But you look back in the jockey in red, number 2, he's already riding pretty aggressively to stay with the field, and he's backing up now. Now as we hit the turn, we're in the midpoint of the race, you're going to see Richie look back at me just about here, and he's going to see me coming to him. And this is when he begins his drive, because he doesn't want me to catch him. Here's a slow motion shot of that. As I'm catching him, Richie sees me coming, and he begins to start his drive, which he begins to hand ride, collecting his reins, gathering his horse up, and I'll show you that on the equicizer in a minute. But both of us are collecting our reins up. We're getting into the drive. Our butts are closer to the saddle. This is for power and balance. As we head towards the top of the stretch, I'm going to go to the whip now. Now my horse tends to be a little lazy, even though he's the better horse. He takes more riding, because if you don't, he may not give you much at all. But Richie's horse, on the other hand, was aggressive, and he wasn't have to ride as hard early, at least early part of the race. So now I'm at my hand ride, and I'm drawing away. And basically, I don't have to whip anymore at this point. But this is the hand ride. So I'll show you in slow motion here. As Richie and I come together, I switch to my left hand. Even when I'm whipping, I'm maintaining my hand ride. I'm maintaining my rhythm and balance with my horse. If I was to miss a stride, I could upset the flow. If it was a very close race, it could make the difference between winning and losing. But you see my lower leg, I'm trying to keep my body completely still. I'm trying to be in perfect rhythm, perfect balance with my horse, reaching out, getting him to extend his stride. At this point I'm pretty much on cruise control, but you can see that my style and form is together with my horse in perfect rhythm. Now jockeys also have different styles and abilities, and here's a great example. In this video, these are 3 Hall of Fame champion jockeys racing right down to the wire, very close. This is Chris McCarron, they're circled, Bill Shoemaker in the middle, and Lafitte Pincaille on the outside. Each of these jockeys are extremely great jockeys, but each of them have a completely different style of riding. Lafitte on the outside, known to be one of the strongest riders ever in history. He just seems to have the strength to push on a horse and just carry them to the finish line. Where Bill Shoemaker in the middle, he was known for his finesse, not necessarily a jockey that would carry a horse, but has good hands and ability to make a horse run with his gentle hands. With Chris McCarron on the inside, kind of had the whole package. He was a jockey that was strong, but also had great finesse. So he was kind of the full package. But each of these jockeys are great in their own right. So let's go to the equicizer now, and I'll show you some close-up shots of a hand ride and some balance and position. Okay, well let's break it down, what we watched on the video, what I was explaining to you about the hand ride. Good old Bob the equicizer is gonna help me show you some tips on doing this. But as we were watching the video, we saw the jockeys come out of the gates. They might have to rush their horse and try to get some position. If horses are being aggressive, you may not have to. You may be actually sitting against them, raiding them, trying to save something for the end of the race. So it's going to depend the distance of the race and the kind of horse that you're on and what your horse is doing at that moment. But as we begin into our hand ride, let's just say we're in the mid part of the race. We're getting close to entering the top of the stretch, and we're going to start asking our horses for their best. So we'll go from, I may have a little bit longer of a hold. I might shorten my range just a little bit and begin pushing. And while I'm doing this, I'm also probably chirping, trying to get them to pick it up. And pretty soon I'm going to be going to my whip. The thing about when you go into your hand ride, you're trying to maintain your balance, your body position, good heel, hip alignment, shoulder, and pushing, pushing, pushing. And one thing I'm not doing is I'm not reaching up around their ears. Sometimes I see a lot of young riders do this and over-exaggerate the motion of a horse's action. Maybe something like that, where I would suggest to tone it down some so that you're not overriding a horse. What happens is sometimes with the equicizer too is they get so much motion going with the neck that it's an exaggeration, and when they get on a real horse they find themselves, instead of the horse only striding maybe this much, they find themselves pushing themselves away from the horse, and it begins for their butt to rock. And also if they're squeezing too much with their knees, or their knees are too far forward, that will also cause the rider to rock while they're riding. So you want your knees to be neutral, flexible, good position. You get lower to the saddle. It helps you with a little bit more strength. And drive. Keeping a nice rhythm going and good body position. Now if I go to the whip, I want to make sure I maintain that rhythm. I don't want to break stride. I'm going to the whip. Maintain that rhythm. As jockeys get tired as well, you'll notice later in the race, sometimes, and I'm even guilty of it, you get tired, like I'm a little tired right now because I'm not that fit, but you'll begin to see riders bounce. That's where it takes a lot of discipline, a lot of fitness to maintain your position and stay with your horse, stay in perfect rhythm with your horse. Like I'm tired. But that's a good hand ride. Being with your horse, getting your horse to extend themselves. Also, that your hand ride is primary, your whipping is secondary. That's what I believe. I see a lot of jockeys that overdo it with the whip. Without your hand ride, you're really not one with your horse. And if you do drop your whip, you know, what else you got? You're going to have nothing but your hand ride. You also see jockeys, we call it throwing crosses, but that's where you re-grip your reins. Because when you're in your hand ride, sometimes you're riding so hard, your reins will get away from you, they'll get loose. You'll see jockeys re-grip. They're called throwing crosses, and that's a way to kind of gather yourself back up. Also, when you begin your hand ride, I suggest that riders make sure that they're together. You don't want to start running until you're walking, in other words. So you want to have yourself completely together before you really get into it. That way you have a better chance of staying collected and together and keeping your horse under control. Well, I hope this video was helpful to you in understanding more about the hand ride. And if you haven't yet, please check out my DVD called What It Takes to Be a Jockey at equicizer.com or franklovatojr.com. So this is Frankie Lovato saying, stay true, ride fast, and be safe. Thanks for watching.